There is a digestive disease epidemic around us. Diarrhea, constipation, bloating, heartburn, acidity, GERD, IBS, IBD, GI cancers. You've probably experienced at least some of these, if not all, or you've probably at least heard about people having these and how this fundamentally disrupts the quality of their life. Take an example. You're out with your friends, you're out for lunch. You have lunch, but 5 minutes later, you immediately want to rush to the washroom. You go to the washroom, you come back, you're chilling again. 15 minutes later, you again want to go to the washroom. You go to the washroom, you come back and you feel intense stomach pain, you have headache, you have nausea, and you just want to go back home. For the people who have probably experienced this, I understand how horrible this must affect your daily life and your social interactions and your actual work. So what do we do about this? Why does this happen? What is the root cause of people having to suffer from all of this? Is there a way out? Let's watch this video to find out. Majority of the solutions that you might have gone for are probably the ones where you have to take a pill to address the symptoms, where it could be a pantocid that addresses your acidity functions or your heartburn, or it could even be a medicine that helps you feel better after you've had a massive diarrhea, or it could be probably a laxative that you take for your constipation. So when you look around, majority of the treatments that we do for all of these concerns are mostly symptomatic ones. That is where you take a medicine and it basically gives you some sort of relief from your symptom. But does it really relieve you from the actual problem? Does it really address the actual problem, or does it really just relieve you of the symptoms, and are you worried they're going to come back? What you really need to do is try and understand why you have these concerns in the first place. Try and root map their reasons and address those, and fundamentally make sure that your dysfunction is corrected. So what could be the reasons for this? We can basically divide the reasons for these concerns into three. It can be genetics, it can be diet, and it can be environment. When it comes to genetics, what you need to understand is genetics is just loading the gun. But if the loaded gun is just lying there, that's not really a problem unless and until you pull the trigger. What pulls the trigger here is your environment and your diet. That means you could have the genes of serious digestive concerns throughout your life and actually have none of the symptoms actually expose and actually affect the quality of your life. Some of the early life influences could also be how you're born. Did you know that the way you're born, the way you come into the world actually has a big role to play in your digestion? Pretty interesting. Babies who are born via normal delivery, that means they come out through the mother's vagina, they in fact swallow a lot of vaginal contents as they come out, which is actually the first dose of the bacteria that the baby receives that goes to its gut. That means this is the first dose of bacteria that enables the baby to develop an immune system that helps the baby fight diseases and the foreign bodies entering. So the babies who actually come via C-section, in fact, they lose this first set of bacteria that helps the baby fight. Another reason could also be how much breast milk the baby receives as a kid. Ideally, every baby's second dose of gut bacteria or the second dose of the good antibodies the baby receives is through the mother's milk. But unfortunately, because of multiple reasons, a lot of babies these days don't really get the breast milk that they deserve. They in fact are fed on formula milks and multiple alternate milk sources, which in fact has a severe role to play in their gut bacteria. So why is gut bacteria so important here? Like we all know, gut has a big role to play not just in your digestion, but also a lot of your absorption and your assimilation. Just because you're eating good food doesn't really mean that the nutrients are getting absorbed into your body. This is determined by your gut bacteria. 70% of your immune cells are also located in your gut. All of the digestive concerns that I just mentioned could also be that your body's immune system is off. So when you eat something, your body could possibly see it as a foreign body. It can start fighting against its own cells. So immune cells also play a big role in your digestion. Another point that affects in your early childhood could also be the multiple infections that you had to go through, and obviously the antibiotics and the medications that you had to take. I mean, even though they were necessary, unfortunately they might have also taken away all the good bugs in your bacteria. So coming down, all of the digestive concerns have a big role to play in your gut health, and you need to start working there. Another important factor that can actually affect your digestive system is chronic stress. I am not talking about the stress that you have to go through when you have an interview or when you have an exam the next day. I am talking about chronic stress that you might have to deal with on a regular basis. It can be issues back at home, it can be issues in your relationship, it can be stuck in a job that you really don't like. It could be that you are having to deal with a physical disease for so long that it actually starts affecting your mental health. It could be multiple reasons. What really happens when you're undergoing chronic stress is that your body really shuts down your digestive system. I'll tell you how. Take an example that you're almost going to get hit by a car. You're trying to cross the road, you're going to be hit by a car. All of a sudden, we might have all noticed that there is a shift of priorities all of a sudden that happen. Our body's immediate goal at that point is to save you, to make sure that you're alive. So for that to happen, what happens is our brain shuts down a lot of other systems in the body. For example, when you're trying to escape and save yourself from a car accident, you don't really need your digestive system. You don't really need your reproductive system. You don't really need your immune system. The only thing that needs to act is your ability to physically and emotionally get out from the danger. So your body has a technique to, for time being, shut down your digestive system, your immune functions, your reproductive functions, your thyroid functions, so that you're at your best to be able to save yourself from that immediate danger, which is good, which is what makes us all stay alive, which is what has brought human beings so far being able to survive. But body has its automatic mechanism to reset all of these shutdown organs back once an emergency situation is gone. Once the stimuli has been taken away, your body will automatically learn to switch back on all the digestive functions, your immune functions are on. If you have noticed, after a terrible emergency that happens, slowly you start breathing back to normal again. You start realizing your senses start to come back. You tend to go back to normal. This is your body's magical ability to reset the parasympathetic system so that you come back to normal. This is extremely essential. But what if you're always worried that you're going to be hit by a car? That means you're going to be under chronic stress and your systems like digestive system and immune functions are constantly going to be turned off. And this is definitely not going to help you in the long term. It can fundamentally disrupt the production of HCl in your system, and we all know how important HCl is when it comes to digestion. HCl's acidity, HCl's quantity is super important to make sure that the food that we eat, it is broken down into the smallest of pieces and all of these nutrients are absorbed. Another thing that can really trigger your digestive system could be your diet. A diet that is loaded with a lot of refined grains, a diet that could be loaded with a lot of gluten, lactose, alcohol, caffeine. I'm not saying this could affect everybody, but for some people who already have a weak digestive system, these could be triggers that are actually becoming a toxin for your body. So being able to identify what are the foods that are really not working for you is important. And like I said, this could be different for everybody. Another integral element that can affect your digestion is your sleep. Imagine you didn't get proper sleep. You're going to wake up and either feel like you want to eat too much or you're going to feel like you don't want to eat at all. So 8 hours of sleep is extremely integral for the body to be able to reset all of the hormones and enzymes. Especially your body works on a sleep wakefulness cycle. So when you wake up, your body needs to automatically be able to produce the appetite hormones, the hormones that help you want to eat food, and your body needs to be able to know when to turn it off. So your body has a circadian rhythm that also controls all of these appetite hormones. So if you have had a poor sleep, that is going to significantly affect your digestion as well. And people with poor sleep, this has also contributed to a poor mental health. And this can in fact, like I said, also connects to a poor HCl production. So it basically works all as a cycle. You can take an example of a day that you have with just 2-3 hours of sleep. It affects your mood, you don't feel like eating, or you get angry at your co-workers, or you're feeling tired throughout the day. So if you notice, these are all things that affect one another like a spider web. One thing affects the other and that affects the next. So it continues as a cycle. So what is the solution to this? Do I really have to take medications every day to feel better? You need not. Just like I said, being able to understand Why do I really have these? What is the reason I have to have digestive concerns every day? Being able to identify the root causes, like I mentioned, it could be a gut dysbiosis. It could be that you're intolerant to a food that you're taking on a regular basis. It could be that your mental health is really bad. It could be that you're having poor sleep hygiene. So being able to identify the different root causes, and it could be more than one, and what somebody has need not be the same root cause as yours. So being able to identify the root cause is what is step number one. Here at Harmony, we follow something called a functional approach, where rather than just addressing the symptoms of the clients, we try and sit with the client so we can have a detailed understanding of their history, like I said, mental health, their sleep, their emotional well-being, their diet, their nutritional status. And we help the client come out of their concerns through a step-by-step scientific program addressing these root causes. It's a multifactorial problem, like I said. The reason one person has IBS need not be the reason another person has, and the solution might not even be the same. Most of the time people think that a magical diet or a magical juice is going to help them come out of it. It really might not be the solution. A client coming in with IBS, they might not necessarily need a diet to fix them. Here at Harmony, they sit with our mental health expert to be able to improve their mental well-being and emotional resilience. They will occasionally meet up with a physician. They will meet up with a fitness expert, and they will also be making sure that their nutritional requirements are met. So being able to help their individual from all the different aspects of their life is super important. One tool that we use here is something called an elimination diet. That is where the possible triggers, the potential triggers in the diet are all eliminated. It could be lactose, it could be gluten, it could be peanuts, it could be soy, and it could be different for different people as well. And like I said, there is no magic diet that will change the job. It is all trial and error. Something that worked for somebody need not really work for another person. So it is being able to involve the client in their own health journey that really matters. They need to be empowered enough to understand what are the right food choices that they can make throughout their life. Another important way in which we handle this is also by re-establishing the client's gut. Being able to bring in, like I said, it's okay that you were born out of C-section. It's okay that you didn't get enough breast milk. There is a solution to this. We can re-establish your gut, bring in back the good bugs, and make sure that your gut is functional again. We do this through a detailed weeding, seeding, and feeding practice. If you would like to know more about it, I can attach a link below where you can watch that video to have an understanding of how we do this in a very scientific manner. Another element is also making sure that you can avoid a lot of toxins, environmental toxins from your life. This can enter in the form of food, it can be dental fillings, it can be high amount of toxins coming in through canned foods, the packed foods that you order. It can even be from inside your body. So being able to keep the toxins in check is also very important. Another element, like I said, is being able to improve your mental well-being. For somebody who has been suffering with IBS or diarrhea or bloating, naturally this is going to affect mental health. And like I said, it is going to affect your physical health back. So being able to improve the person's mental health and confidence is also super important through this journey. In the course of the program, we also train the client to improve their fitness and their exercise routines. Why? Because like I said, automatically exercise is also something that improves a person's gut health and confidence and their immune functions and all of that. A very important point that you need to keep in mind is something called bio-individuality. Everyone's sufferings are different, everyone's root causes are different, everyone's solutions are also different. Just because something worked for somebody doesn't really mean it should work for you. So being able to personalize your program, being able to understand what your core dysfunctions are and being able to address those is what is really important.